What does it mean to have more confidence in business? Today's episode is to answer one of the most frequent asked questions. Kelly, how can I be more confident in my business? Whether it's during a sales conversation or just plainly put yourself out there to grow your business. Coming up for you in this episode. Hi, Katie Butler here. I help crisis center coaches and consultants and service providers to grow their business to six-figure and beyond. So if you are one of those awesome leaders, then please consider subscribe to this channel, or you are listening to our podcast, please follow the podcast. By the way, as a team, we are so excited to let you know that we are designing a very powerful business assessment completely free for the crisis center leaders like you to really diagnose out what is that number one killer for your business so you can finally move the needle and move forward. If the assessment is ready, the link will be in the description section. So please look out for it. Now, let's think about those leaders that you admire and follow. What do they have in common? Confidence, right? And it seems like they are born with it. Is that so? I get asked often, especially right after I get off the stage after a speaking presentation. Kelly, you look so confident. How did you do it? If you have known a little bit about my journey, I had to fight against a very strong male-dominated environment during my corporate career before. Then, while I was pursuing the entrepreneurial journey, as English is my third language, and I have used it to build my business in the last 14 years. However, I was told multiple times by very well-known experts that I shouldn't consider to have a podcast in English, nor become an author of an English written book, not to mention to become a speaker. Well, we got on the TED stage as well. Now, don't you think I have some moments of doubt in this journey and felt not confident at all? Of course, I did, and I still do sometimes. Here is how God has really hammered on me a few years back when I was on one of those self-pity parties. You know, one of those, right? Complaining that I wasn't good enough to do this, what on earth that God want me to do this and all that. And here is what he said. Kelly, let's think about this together. What does confidence mean? Well, I went to Google. Let me read you what I found. Confidence means feeling of yourself and your abilities, not in an arrogant way, but in a realistic and secure way. All right. So how will you feel sure or secure in a realistic way applies to business or other situation? When God asked me that question, I thought, okay, so something like this. I have done it. I know how the process went. And so I know that I can do it again. And meaning that now I have the competence to achieve it. Then he asked further. So it means you have executed, right? Yes, of course. And he asked further. How about before the execution? Then I thought, okay, well, Lord, I will ask you first and see the wisdom for it. He said, fantastic. So how did you receive the wisdom from me? I spend time with you and we get to talk. Then the aha moment kicking. That's what I call the confidence fueling loop. Let me explain. By the way, as a team, we are designing a very powerful assessment to help crisis center leaders like you to really diagnose what is that number one killer for your expert business. So you can really move the needle and stop feeling overwhelmed or feeling stuck so you can move forward quickly. So if the assessment is ready, then the link will be below in the description, okay? Now, let's break this confidence fueling loop down, okay? As crisis center entrepreneurs, we consecrate ourselves to the Lord. We cultivate close relationship with our Abba Father. From there, we then set out to do what He has called us to do, right? We often say that we downloaded what God has asked us to do in this season. Now, during the execution process, we might face challenges, obstacles, failures, and so on. We will make adjustment when it's necessary. From there, then we execute again, and it succeeded. So during the process, that's where we gain that competence. As soon as we have the competence, then we can feel more sure and secure. Then we establish our confidence in that experience, right? Make sense? So here is a confidence fueling loop again. Consecration brings to execution, brings to adjustment, and then competence. Finally, we got our confidence. Then after that, for the next new journey, we get back to talk with our Abba Father again, and the loop start over again. It sounds great, right? But here is when the rubber meets the road. If we miss or get stuck on any of these link components we just mentioned, that's often why we don't get to the level of confidence that we desire. Sometimes we are way too busy. We allow ourselves to be so occupied, and we don't have enough time to spend with the Lord. And no wonder we say, we don't hear from Him, right? Or after we heard the marching order, we allowed the fear to kick in, or even worse, we rebel against the advice what God just told you about. So we get stuck. We don't get into the next component of execution. However, sometimes we did step out the faith to do it, right? So now we are in the link of execution. But we give up too soon. The moment we hit the obstacles or challenges, and we didn't get to the stage of learning from the mistakes, and so we can make that adjustment. Can you relate to that? So do yourself a favor right now. I would like to invite you to reflect on the maybe most recent situation you didn't feel like you had enough confidence. Which step of this confidence fueling loop did you get stuck? And what is one action step you can take to avoid it happen again? It's about time to shut the mouth of the negative voice about you cannot, and take action today to get yourself into that confidence fueling loop. Now is your turn. Share with us below in the comment section that which step of the loop that were you stuck, that you did not move forward, and what can you do differently next time? You know why I want you to comment below? Here's the thing. You know the darkness lose its power when you expose it under the sun. So that's why I want you to share. So go ahead to comment below and share this video with someone you care. And if you like this video and this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share with others so more Christ-centered leaders have the opportunity to consume this type of valuable content. Before I go, I just want to remind you that you can click on the screen to go to the next business growth videos, and I will see you in the next episode.